11 new rules for writing a book that changes the world. Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from Mindful Marketplace. Welcome back to Serve at Scale. This is our private community podcast for inspirational authors, transformational teachers, mindful leaders, and enlightened entrepreneurs. Anyone who truly has an inspiring message that they want to share with the world. So, recording this in the backdrop of a super sunny day where I have 3 dogs sitting next to me. So if you hear an explosion of barking, it didn't come from me. All right. So the first thing I want to do is cover one of the real big challenges that I see in our author community, or in the community of folks who are reaching out to us to learn more about writing a book that changes the world. So they want to write a book, or you want to write a book. And one of the challenges that I'm seeing is that people want to try to squeeze in every bit of niche knowledge or experience and expertise, everything that you've touched or tasted, explored, or experienced to prove that you are an expert or you're worth paying attention to in your niche vertical industry or marketplace. And I think that's really a problem. It does a disservice to the creative process, right? So, what ends up happening, and I think many people listening to this can identify with this particular problem, is you never actually finish the book. When you're trying to data dump or sort of, squeeze every bit of niche knowledge that you have, or every bit of experience and expertise, everything that you've done, it leads to perpetual procrastination. It leads to author overwhelm. In this case, you're going to be overwhelmed. It leads to feature creep, which is something that, if you're not familiar with that term, for authors, it simply means you're adding too much information that is unnecessary. So you're just kind of throwing everything you know into the book or the course or even the service, right? This can apply to much more than just books, but for this limited use case, let's just talk about writing a book. So it also leads to audience overwhelm. There's simply too much information for your reader to absorb, to either finish the book or take the action that actually helps you build your brand and business, and also helps them get the sort of rock star result that you're hoping to offer. And again, this is shared in the purview of inspirational sorts of books or self-help books, or when you have an idea that you can offer your audience that inspires an experience that changes their lives. So the opposite of of this sort of squeezing every piece of your knowledge into a book approach is what we call a bridge book. And a bridge book is, as I've covered before, designed to inspire or invite, preferably both, an experience, right? So you want to write a book that inspires and invites an experience. And the experience is what you, as the author, invite your reader to do at the end of the book that offers each individual reader a rock star transformation. And again, they don't experience this by having read the book. They experience it by dint of immersing themselves in the part of your practice that actually leads to a real result. So I think all of us can identify with the notion of having, read and enjoyed a book or many books in our lifetimes that sound good when we were reading them, we were excited, but we actually never followed through or took the author's advice, or we moved to another similar book that shared a similar message, and so on and so on and so on. And we're still, years later, months later, decades later, struggling with the same problems or challenges. So, the key point here is you inspire with words, but you transform through experience. And the bridge book builds a bridge, literally, between your words in the book and your work in the world. And that's really how you're going to transform your audience. So I'm going to actually cover the 11 new rules in another audio, so I can keep these somewhat short. I don't want these to really drag on in keeping in the, with the spirit of what I'm trying to tell you to do. I don't want to end up recording a 20-minute audio on this process. So the next podcast will cover the rules, which are meant to actually facilitate a real transformation for you as a leader, as an author, as a teacher, as a maker, as a creative, but also, and equally as important, to facilitate a transformation in your audience, because none of this is done in the service of artificial ego inflation or elevation. We don't want to just write books for the purpose of announcing on Facebook that we've written a book. If you're, playing silly games, you're going to win silly prizes. There's nothing worth getting. There's nothing you're going to get, actually, other than very superficial, recognition from your peers, from your family, from your high school friends, from, whoever it is that you're sort of announcing, that you've written a book or that you've got all these good things going on. We really want to use these processes that we're sharing here as a real, authentic lever by which we're changing the world with our words and through our work. And that is the spirit in which all this is shared. So in the next part 2 of this audio or this podcast, we're going to get to 11 rules. And these are actually in book form as well. So we have a book coming out in early April. I'm recording this now on the 20th of March that actually has all of these rules. So if you want a early copy of the book, just send an email to hi@mindfulmarketing.com, and I'm actually happy to share that with you for free. Okay, alone we can change a neighborhood, together we can change the world. This is really our animating, motivating motto and slogan for a reason. I really truly believe that the next generation, or a new generation of mindful leaders, teachers, coaches, inspirational authors, there's never been a better time to put out the work you feel called to create into the world than right now. I can't ever remember a more exciting time for any of us who want to build brands and businesses that make a meaningful impact in mental health and spiritual growth and self-awareness and all of those, attendant, ideas. So teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. Listen to part 2 of this podcast immediately following this one. Thanks so much, and as always, have a